for Martin this evening. My role is very much thank yous and also to recognize that our honoree this evening, Rabbi Cohen, is still counting the owner, Mazel tov. And it seems like he's unaided by an iPhone, which is even more impressive. The Rabbinical Assembly Joint Campaign is something that I think that all of us should be proud of, because it is a campaign that is supporting the seminaries of our movement and the R.A. Masorti campaign, and we do it together, which in a world that seems very fractured most of the time is, I think, an accomplishment that we should all be proud of. And a lot of the thanks for that goes to the chair of our campaign, our colleague Randy Konigsburg. And although they're not with us this evening, they might be watching on live stream, so I suggest that you clap anyways. But our colleague Rabbi Abby True back at JTS, who runs the campaign. And for everybody who knows her name, Marcine Lovelace, who is the Director of National Administration of JTS, who really makes this thing run. And the last bit of thanks I want to go to all of you. Because with your support, and Randy will give you the figures of where we stand right now, we raised an impressive amount of money to support our seminaries and the R.A. Masorti campaign, and it is a great help.
And I want to thank Mark for lots of reasons, partly for helping me get be a part of this great campaign, but also this is his, I think our last campaign we're going to be working on together. He's moved on to a higher place, a different place, and he is going to be very much part of the seminary, but not so much part of the campaign. But
Still giving to it.
Still giving to it. Yes, he is still giving to it. I will attest to that. With all of your help, with all of your help, we were able to raise for our campaign this year just a little bit over $400,000 so far. Right? This is, yeah. Thank you. This is, of course, only May, and the campaign goes through to the end of the year, so it's not too late. I just wanted to say about this campaign, because to me this is something that's always been very, very important. From the time that I was first giving to this campaign, it has always been, this joint campaign has always been very much a part of my experience of the Rabbinical Assembly. We talk about arms of this movement, but today this event is not about arms at all. It's about the spine. It's about the very backbone of what Masorti conservative Judaism is all about. 5 different organizations, right? The Seminary, the Ziegler School, the Schechter School, Masorti, the Seminario. These are the institutions that have made, first of all, us possible and keep our movement strong. We're virtually at $500,000 in terms of what we're able to give to these, combined to these institutions. And we know these are 5 most crucial institutions of our movement. If they relied on our $500,000, that would not be such a good thing. But they do, and they rely on it in a different way. Together, when we pool ourselves, our rabbinic community together, and create this campaign, we're doing is we're challenging the rest of the world to come and join us. And that joining us would be impossible without our commitment. We give to set the examples for others to give. These important institutions in our movement are able to grow, and they're able to grow more resources because we have stood up already for these 5 organizations, and others see what we do and they lend their hands. I know that you probably all look to see if your name is in the book. We really tried hard. If we missed because we had a cutoff date and we just weren't able to do more than that, it's not too late to get your name included in the campaign, that's for certain. But if you do see your name in the book, that's not enough. We really want you to show your name to other people in your communities as well. I want them to know what you stand for. What organizations, when you give, what organizations you give to. Because I think they'll not only be impressed with what you've given to and be moved to give to that as well, but they'll also be moved to join you in a lot of other causes as well. I mean, that's the real beauty of what we do here. It is an amazing campaign for these amazing these amazing backbone of our movement. And yet, it spills over into lots of other places as well. So thank you. Thank you all for your support. It is not too late if for some reason or another you didn't get a chance to get it in, make a pledge. We can deal with that. Please come see us. You can see us tonight even, and we'll get you included. If you just need to make a pledge, that's all we need from you tonight. If you haven't, and if you want to increase it, we can handle that as well. So thank you all. Thank you all for all that you've done for the seminary, for the Ziegler School, for the Schechter School, for the Seminario, and for the Masorti movement. Thank you all, because without you, this many, many different parts of this would be impossible. With that, I'm going to, it is my great privilege to call upon Chancellor Arnie Eisen.
Thanks, Randy. It's my pleasure to say a few words about Martin and then make a presentation, which is really an honor for me to do because I met Martin Cohen through his writings long before I met him in person. And it says something about the importance of the man and his work and about the model that man and that work represent for the conservative rabbinate. We are often accused of being over-intellectualized in this movement. I actually think that we're not. But let's say that the intellectual strength in this movement is one of our greatest assets. The fact that there is a model of the intellectual rabbi, the scholar rabbi, the person who serves in the pulpit and writes books is a very good thing for our movement and always has been. And I myself reject the contention that there's some kind of built-in opposition between intellect and passion. And certainly in Martin Cohen, in the man and the work, you don't see this opposition. You see the two things integrated very fully. So Martin's contribution to our community are both deep and prolific. As a teacher, Martin Cohen has taught at JTS and at the Institute for Jewish Studies in Heidelberg, Germany, as well as at the Vancouver School of Theology and the University of British Columbia. He has served pulpits in British Columbia and Southern California, and for the past decade in Roslyn, New York, at Shelter Rock Jewish Center. His published works include scholarly studies in the history of ancient Jewish mysticism, 4 novels, 4 books of essays, the Aviv Press edition of the Psalms called Our Haven and Our Strength, and The Boy on the Door on the Ox, which I want to say a word about, departing from the script right now. So, I don't know how many of you have read this amazing book, The Boy on the Door on the Ox. One of the things that Martin Cohen has given us is a new term for our Jewish vocabulary called psychopomp. And I leave it to you to read the book to figure out what psychopomp is, but it comes from the notion that there are spiritual guides in every religious tradition. Our religious tradition is blessed with many of them. And what he tries to do in this book is introduce us to a bunch of these different spiritual guides. The first guide, who is not a guide for this journey, then it's not a journey, that I wish to introduce is a child who is not a child, a real and unreal boy standing by the edge of a fictitious cemetery holding a bunch of arguably unreal lilies in his hand. Is he really real or really unreal? Is he there at all? And so we go on, and there is a kind of idiosyncratic tone here which the intellectual in me loves. There's a kind of a playfulness, a kind of a run of ideas, kind of, okay, I'm going to let my associative abilities take off. And we, the readers of this book, are the beneficiaries of Martin Cohen's incredible imagination, bringing things to the study of Mishnah that I doubt have been brought to the study of Mishnah before. And that, it seems to me, is the mark of a great author, and it's the mark of a great rabbi, and it's the mark of a great teacher of Torah, summoning up things in the person that then speak through the voice of Torah and make Torah speak in a voice that it wouldn't have had otherwise. That's the genius of this book, The Boy on the Door and the Ox. And I recommend it to all of you. I found many hours of delightful reading in it a year or two ago. But we're here to celebrate another book, which I'll get to in a moment. From 1997 to 2000, Martin Cohen was the chairman of the Publications Committee of the Rabbinical Assembly, and since then has been instrumental in many of the RA's publications through his leadership involvement with Aviv Press. He has also served for 11 years as the chair of the editorial board of Conservative Judaism, and let me say, as a reader of Conservative Judaism long before I became chancellor of JTS, that this also is one of the pride and joys of our movement, something that stands forth and says, this is a serious movement. There are serious ideas here. There are serious minds at work. This is a movement that takes theology seriously, that takes ideas seriously, and that is thanks in part to Martin Cohen's editorship. He's the senior editor of the forthcoming landmark book, which is no longer forthcoming. It is a landmark book. It is now out, The Observant Life, which has now been published, and you all are having a copy. Your muscles are going to get stronger by carrying that copy around with you at the RA convention and carrying it home with you. I had the good fortune, because I got to write a preface to it, to read it before the rest of you. I would go out on a limb and say that this book is a major, major achievement for this movement and for American Judaism. We have put together what Martin and Michael Katz have done, and if you've ever edited anything, you can appreciate the work that went into this. They have elicited from dozens of our colleagues truly original thinking and deep learning, which altogether makes a statement about what Judaism is through a conservative lens. And I particularly like the idea this is not just a book addressed to conservative Jews, it's a book addressed to contemporary Jews who want to live the observant life that carries with it the wisdom of Judaism as filtered through conservative minds and conservative practice. It's really a really fine achievement, and we're honoring a man. We want to thank Michael Katz for his work in the book as well, but we're also honoring a book today. And so because we are paying tribute to the man and paying tribute to the book, Martin, I'd like you to come forward now. And we have a presentation to make to you. And what we're presenting you with is a leather-bound copy of a book called The Observant Life, presented to Rabbi Martin S. Cohen, for a career of dedicated service, May 6, 2012, 14th of ER 5772, from the Rabbinical Assembly Joint Campaign. Congratulations. Thank you. I'll clear away my stuff. Move it out. Move it out of the way.
Thank you all. Thank you all very, very much, and thank you, Chancellor. As a boy, I had the exceptional good fortune to come under the influence of two of the great rabbis of our movement and two of the great leaders of American Judaism. I refer to Rabbi Max Artz, of blessed memory, and my own mentor and my teacher, Rabbi Ben Zion Boxer, also of blessed memory. Because I grew up in that atmosphere, because I learned from them what it meant to be a rabbi, or what it could be to be a rabbi, I have become the rabbi that I am today. But I was not that much more than a boy when I came to JTS. I was 21 years old when I entered the Rabbinical school, and I stayed at JTS for a long time. By the time I left, I was 30 years old. And people change a lot from 21 to 30. I started out as a young lad, just sort of trying to find his way through the whole thing. And through my years at JTS, I had the exceptional good fortune to work with and to study under Louis Finkelstein and Gerson Cohen, Saul Lieberman, Elias Bickerman. I had the very Yibadel Chaim Arukim, Israel Frankus. These were my role models in the years of my growth at JTS. And they led me in a certain direction, into academics, which I pursued for quite a while, but Rabbi Boxer was always around somewhere, first just as a disembodied role model and then eventually actually as a ghost. But he was never that far from me. And in my heart, even as I was making my way forward in academics, I always knew that I wished to return to the Congregational Rabbinate and to make my home there. I've devoted my entire professional life to demonstrating that the life of the mind, the life of study, of ruminative thought, of reflection on our ancient texts, a life consumed with involvement with the Gemara and with Midrash, that is not only not incompatible with a life in the Congregational Rabbinate, but it is the wellspring of success in the Congregational Rabbinate. I have tried always to integrate those two thoughts. My own culture hero among our great Mefarshim is the Tiferet Yisrael, Rabbi Israel Lipschitz, who produced the most splendid of all Mishnah commentaries, one that we used extensively in The Boy on the Door and the Ox, and yet who spent his entire life in the Congregational Rabbinate, schlepping from shul to shul until he finally found his place in Danzig, where he lived until he died. That model of the servant of a community who finds his place in the world through Talmud Torah, that has always been my model. It's what I've tried to do. To the extent that I've been successful, I have only all of you to thank as my friends and my colleagues and my teachers at JTS, and above all, the role models of my childhood, Rabbi Artz and Rabbi Boxer. In a certain sense, I'd like to dedicate my part of this evening to their memory. And also, I'd like to thank all of the other authors of The Observant Life who have contributed to the production of this volume, which you have all been given today as you arrived at convention. So, I would like to invite all the authors and everyone here who has worked on this project, please to come forward and join me at the podium. Ed and Craig, Jerry, Ben, yes, Danny and Gordon. So, B'shem ele shomdim kam imanu hayom, u'b'shem ele she'enam omdim kan imanu hayom. I'd like to thank all of you for these many, many, many years of support that led to the production of The Observant Life. It is, in my own understanding, the crown of achievement in my rabbinic career, the production of this book. And I owe it to all of you, and to those who are not here with us today. I owe it to Joel Meyer, who phoned me in 2003 and said, "Are you busy?" Now, I was a bit naive. I thought he meant, can you take a phone call, not do you have 9 years to give to a project. But, in for a penny, in for a pound. We began there. We had, in the very beginning of this project, the excellent help of Amy Gottlieb, who was for many years the Director of Publications of the Rabbinical Assembly. In Amy's absence, her job has been taken over with respect to this book by Jan Kaufman, without whom the book could never, ever have been published. When Joel retired, the cup was passed to Julie Schoenfeld, whose support for this project has enabled its publication, and who, I must admit, was personally, I don't think I'm speaking out of school to say, was personally responsible for arranging the funding that made possible the publication of The Observant Life. I was present, but I was really only along for the ride. So, let's make another book. Let's do something else. I got all these people ready to work. I'd like to conclude, therefore, in the traditional words of the Hadaran. I'd like to pray that God grant us all to go from strength to strength in the production of books, in the study of Torah, in the invention of creative new avenues of ruminative thought that will lead us to serve our congregations and our students and our friends better. And I pray that God grants us many years together as colleagues, and that this book is only one of many, many that together we bring together to ourselves and to our movement and to Am Yisrael. Thank you.
I just want to add that we not only thank all of these who made this book possible, but also their teachers and also those who made this kind of scholarship possible. And that goes on to many of you, to all of you. Thank you all for your support, and I've been told that dessert will be momentarily.